Can you imagine surviving for 2 weeks without heat or electricity in the middle of winter? For the people of Maine, this was their reality. Survival became the ultimate challenge. Every house became an icebox. Indoor temperatures dropped to near freezing. People huddled together, burning firewood, lighting candles, or simply using each other's body heat to stay warm. But danger was everywhere. Carbon monoxide poisoning became a silent killer, as many tried to use generators or charcoal grills indoors for warmth. Hospitals were overwhelmed with patients suffering from hypothermia and CO poisoning. Yet, in the midst of this profound hardship, an incredible story of humanity began to unfold. The crisis brought people closer together. Neighbors checked on neighbors. Those with generators or fireplaces opened their doors to others. Community halls, schools, and churches became emergency shelters, where hundreds of people lived together, ate together, and comforted each other in their shared misery. A remarkable sense of brotherhood was born across the state. People realized they were not alone in this disaster. They were all in it together. The ice storm had taken their electricity, but it could not take away their humanity. The war for the light. When the storm finally subsided, one of the largest recovery operations in American history began. Thousands of utility poles were down, and countless miles of wire had been destroyed. Maine's utility companies knew they could not handle this alone. From all across the United States and Canada, thousands of linemen came to help. They arrived in convoys, a modern army marching into Maine to fight a war for the light. They worked day and night in the brutal cold and hazardous conditions, removing the broken poles, setting new ones, and restringing the wires. The task was monumental. The National Guard was deployed. They didn't just clear roads and help citizens. They used helicopters to deliver food and essential supplies to the most remote areas. Slowly, after immense effort and tireless work, the light began to return. First to a single neighborhood, then to a whole town. When the first light bulb flickered on in a home after more than 2 weeks of darkness, it was a moment of pure celebration. This was more than just electricity. It was a symbol of hope, a sign of a return to normal life. What the ice left behind. The ice melted, the trees grew new leaves, the power was restored. Life returned to normal. But the great ice storm of 1998 left a permanent mark on the people of Maine. The disaster taught them about the terrifying power of nature, but it taught them a greater lesson about the power of human resilience and the strength of community. The neighbor you barely knew became your lifeline in a time of crisis. The storm changed Maine's infrastructure. The power grid was upgraded, and better emergency response plans were put into place. But the biggest change happened in the hearts of the people. Even today, when the winter clouds gather over Maine, the people remember those frozen days of 1998. They remember the silence, the cold, the hardship, and they also remember the warmth. A warmth that didn't come from a generator or a fire, but from the human heart. The storm took much from them, but it gave them something in return that is everlasting. An unbreakable community spirit.